Good evening. April 17 meeting of the Acton Cemetery Committee. We have Tracy and we have Jay, and we have our first guest ever in like several years, so thank you for being here. Everybody has a copy of the old minutes from our December meeting. Has everybody looked at them? They all look good? Any comments or anything? All right, so going on to the agenda here, old business. So the trees at Remick over on Sandpage Road and Goose Pond Road should be removed this week. We had some paperwork issues and scheduling issues, so hopefully that'll get done this week. The tree over at Sanborn Nason has been removed. That was last month. There was one tree. Now, inside the cemetery itself, there are no trees. So if you can get over there one of these days, that's another stump removal project for you, Jay.
Yep. Gotta get it up over that rock wall.
Yeah, so, the Nason trees, Nason Cemetery over Nason Road, those trees are scheduled for mid-May, and they should be all taken down. There's a lot of trees over there. That one beautiful, old, massive monster pine tree that I hate to see go away, but it's literally falling apart. So that needs to go away, and it's going. I did order flags a couple months back, and they did come in, so we have enough flags for this year. I still need to get a Canadian flag for the one Canadian World War I vet that's up on Blueberry Hill Farm. We did buy 2 headstones, pay for those. We paid for a second set, and we still have one more to pay for, probably next month. Ken did pick up those 2 headstones, the replacement headstones for Mary Grant's mom and for somebody over in Acton Corner. And one of these days, we're gonna get out there and get them installed. So we're working on getting old temporary headstone markers, like these little metal ones. The first one we're replacing is 30 years old. I've seen some that are over 100 years old, and they're temporary. So we're getting that fixed. Howdy. Yeah, a cemetery committee?
Yeah.
Have a seat. All right. Pass that on down. Yeah, I went over, we're still on the old business.
How you guys doing?
Good.
Thank you.
So we're at the old business part where it talks about 2023 budget submitted.
Couple more coming in.
Oh, there
right
are?
now. They didn't know the door was unlocked. They went to the other door.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, all the games on here.
So you are? Jim Driscoll. Oh. And nice to meet you. Yeah.
Out in the truck.
Oh, jeez.
Your daughters used to work at a mall.
So, we went over the minutes, from last month, and we're on the old business right now.
Harrison runs the school teacher now.
So I'll give you guys a moment to look over the minutes if you guys haven't done so already, and any of the new old business. So on the old business, we're down to the 2023 budget submitted. So good thing Mr. Jim walked in, because he can tell us all about that.
I don't have any of my paperwork with me, but
How'd it go?
that went really well, really well.
What did we request this year?
Pretty much the same thing as we have every other year, except for we asked for the $10,000 just to start really getting going on some of this tree cutting in these cemeteries, where it hasn't been done in 100 years,
Yeah.
You drive around, you look at Shapley and some of these other towns there. They don't have any trees in any of these little cemeteries, And we talked about the damages the trees are doing. The branches falling, over 100 years with a tree. If we went and stood in the woods, chances are we're not gonna get by a branch, but over 100 years, they're gonna fall. They're taking out stones, and then the roots are pushing the stones up. Just the damage it's doing is just unbelievable, so.
Even healthy trees, the Masters down in Augusta, do you guys see the video footage of the pine trees down in Georgia? at the Masters tournament.
Oh, that was incredible.
Hundreds of people around watching the golf tournament and 2 trees.
They were 100-foot
Yeah,
trees. They
the
were
whole like
massive.
root system came up.
Cluster.
Luckily, nobody got hurt, but, that could end poorly, so.
We talked about, that the $3,000 that were in the budget that was only used for flags and,
Little expenses.
yeah. So, and the work that Kenny's doing on some of the stones and
Yep. Now, when does the budget, get approved, or I guess whatever?
town meeting, it's gonna be up to the people on the town floor. So if as many of us can be there as possible, because you guys obviously have a lot more information being here for so many years. If there's questions that I can't answer, I'm gonna be there, but if any help I could have from you guys would be great.
Yeah.
That
Do you know what the date of that is?
Gonna ask that.
Off the top of my head, do you know what the date, Virginia, of the town meeting is?
Isn't it this
June 13th?
13.
Yeah.
13?
Elections are on the 10th.
All right, cool. Yeah, if we can have all hands on deck kind of deal for that, or,
Can I ask a question? Ken, you were telling me about, was it Saco or Scarborough, who for years has been trying to get money to cut trees?
It's in Lyman, actually,
Lyman.
yes. They were finally approved for $60,000 through the town because Steve, the president, went to them every year for several years, what we're starting to do now. And then they finally said, hey, what do you need so you can stop bugging us?
Yeah.
And he asked, well, we want all our trees down in all our cemeteries. And they approved it. And he has until this June to get them all out.
So he did it in one lump sum and finally had it approved.
Correct.
Fighting years and years, where we're just doing,
Yeah.
how many cemeteries does this guy take care of? 4 or 3?
so we have, one's already been taken care of. We have 2 scheduled for this week, hopefully, then 1 for May.
May.
But then we got, just about every other cemetery in town needs some work, so.
Then we talked about the day we went down to back of the French Street there.
Yep.
Where the horses are, and we haven't got access into those, and the damage the horses were doing, that the fences have been knocked down, and those horse manure and stones on the ground, and so, but they were really good. They weren't, all of them. They asked a lot of good questions, and it went well.
Good.
For clarification.
Yep.
We still asked for the 3,000 and additional 10,000, or was the 10,000 all that we requested?
It was additional.
It was additional from what I took.
Yeah.
I went over the whole thing again today, and it was an additional to the $3,000.
10,000 is gonna be for trees.
Trees only,
And it's,
correct.
it goes fast.
Yep.
Yeah.
Got it.
So, yeah, we just
Wanted to clarify.
baby step, a few cemeteries a year, knock these trees down and get them back up to where they should be, so.
And then there were 6 cemeteries at $10,000. Remember, they were talking about $10,000? It only applies to 6 cemeteries.
That was the trust.
Oh,
The trust has,
Yeah.
well, I don't remember the figures. I think it was $3,000 in trust for 6 cemeteries.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
6 cemeteries, originally, when they formed this for the 6 cemeteries, they did it with $10,000, and you can only spend the interest. And
Yeah.
right now, I believe the interest is up to $9,173, but we cannot touch that until we find the warrant article when that money was put in and when they started that, because there is specific language. The chairman of the Warrant and Finance Committee, he made a good point. He vaguely remembers it, so I've been trying to find that warrant article to see how, he was under the standing that out of those 6 cemeteries, that each one was allotted only so much per year out of that 9,000, whatever it is, interest. So we can't just spend that until we know how the people voted on that. And I think that warrant article goes back years and years, so to find it, it's difficult.
We have a lot of old town reports at the Historical Society, and I know at least in Shapley, they put them in, I'm sure you guys do too here in Acton, put the that in there in the town reports, but I don't know if they did, 20, 30, 40 years ago or something.
Well, we've got all the reports complete for both towns going back to the 1800s, so.
Do you have access to those, Tracy, up at the circle? I'd like to come up and go through those and try to find that.
Absolutely.
We'll get you in there, we know a guy, so.
Oh, that's good.
And a gal. and a few
Jim, I'll
gals.
help you go through those.
Yeah.
I'm interested, yeah. If there's a lot, then.
Gotta be one article somewhere,
Do you know how many years back, though?
Well, they're saying that we make,
Is it during Olive's time or
what was
prior to
it,
that?
the interest, I think they said was, what was it?
There's one time, they mentioned 16%, 16 cents,
16 cents a month.
yes,
So if it started with $10,000 and it's 16 cents a month we make an interest,
yeah,
it's gotta go way back.
Yeah.
We're up to 9,000.
The math, and we'll figure it out.
Pretty low interest, so yeah.
Yeah,
So I'm heading to New Hampshire tonight. If I don't have it on my work computer, that trust fund amounts and stuff, I'll get it to you guys at the end of the week. So,
Warren on Finance also mentioned a point that we should try to get some kind of waiver for folks when we go into their yard to protect ourselves and the town. When we get permission, just to, once they give us permission, just
Jim,
a signature.
we've signed waivers at the town hall to go into all these cemeteries already.
You do already?
Yeah.
Yes, see, I didn't know
I had
that.
asked him whether it was a one-time thing or if it was a yearly thing, and he said it was a one-time thing.
yeah.
So we've signed waivers,
With the property owner? With the-
well, with the town to be in them. Now, what we do is we approach the owner and ask permission always. And then if they allow us, which they mostly do, then we do our job. If not,
What's the waiver with the town? What's that?
so if we hurt ourselves while we're in the process of volunteering our time in the cemeteries and everything, because I know that was one of the concerns of one of the individuals on the Warren Finance thing.
Yeah.
And that's something I think we need to do, is maybe have a meeting, this committee, with the Warren and Finance and Selectmen, or at least a person from each one, and all get on the same page so that we don't have these questions when we're going up and asking money and we're all
Yeah, we
on,
can probably meet with one.
on the same page.
Meet with the liaison from each committee or something.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just to get clarification. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
cool. Anything else on old business that we didn't cover? Or they might have come up?
Are the stumps all gonna be the size that we can handle with my grinder, or are there gonna be a few that are so big and bold that they're too massive to handle?
Yeah, I'm sure there's gonna be some big ones. We'll
So
do the
we'll
best
have
we
to think
can.
about that.
Yeah.
They asked about that too at the meeting. What's the plan for the stumps down the line?
No, I purposely purchased a stump grinder, I don't know if it's 5 years ago now, knowing that
Oh,
we
you
were
have
doing
one?
that. Yeah, I bought it so that we can all use
Oh,
it doing
that's
this.
I don't know, I mean, some of the big trees, we've never dealt with a
Sorry, I
big tree
need to
before.
rent a bigger
So
one.
I can do any size stump, it's the amount of time that you want to take to do it. So if it's too massive, then it might be
We
worth
got a
us thinking.
majority of them, I would think.
Yeah, I do now, so.
I can't imagine any of them were any bigger than the ones that we handled at Steve's over in Wells.
Yeah.
That's
We'll
fantastic.
do it, yeah.
That's great.
If they're on the corner and they're big and they're not near any stones, we can just also just let it just rot away.
Well, you can paint them too.
I see a lot of wood stacked at some of the cemeteries. Are you guys cutting these trees down, the smaller ones, and stacking the wood and?
Yeah, like the one at Goose Pond, yeah, yeah, I know a couple years back, we did donate, some wood to some local families that needed some, so.
I burned some, I'm hoping Ken's gonna burn some, so.
Yeah, if we, this goes out to the public, if we have any trees, any stumps or wood or anything, and anybody needs some of it's hardwood, some of it's softwood, come take it, please, so. Big piles of brush and branches and whatnot, so.
Yeah, so
But
the
I mean,
other,
the clearing you're doing on your own is pretty impressive. Some of the piles of wood there is,
All right, new business. So organized work, mainly the cleanups that we sort of, whether we set up through the Historical Society, we'll be starting that up soon. You know, we gotta figure out, days and times and locations and whatnot. And then just unorganized work, hey, I wanna go clean up a cemetery today, I got some time off or whatever it is. We're just not, everybody's gonna start getting out there again. Just keep track of, if you could do the unorganized stuff, on your own or with somebody else, just, keep a tally of your time and, where you're at and what you're doing over there, so. I did send Jim this list, actually I added a couple onto this one, the priority list of the cemeteries here, of trees and headstones and stuff like that, and other things like that fence over at the cemetery near French Road. Yeah, so we're finally gonna be able to get some of these bigger cemeteries with the trees down, get them finally almost done or done. I know Suzanne was the big push to get, like Remick did it done this year, finally.
Yeah, well, it's gonna be a big project.
Yeah.
Because all the stones, you took them out, you gotta bring them back in.
Gotta fix the stones
Remick now?
on San Page Road.
The old 109.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So even when we get the trees down, we have to get the stones back upright. The ones that are fixed, we gotta fix those. The ones that can't be fixed, there's some that are just chunks.
There's 2 of them. I went back over. We're not gonna be able to.
Yeah. We can get replacement stones, made out of granite probably, maybe in the old style with the old calligraphy and whatever it is, to replace the ones that are just not usable anymore. That would cost some money, but we can get those as we come across them, things like that. Flagging, I know last year I had all the flags, I did all the extra staples on them so they don't flop around, do the half-mast by the end of the winter time. And I'll be starting flagging again. I didn't have a problem flagging everything myself. If anybody wants to do some, let me know and I'll get you some flags. New volunteers, so we did meet some new people this past year that want to help out. Some local people in town, and then there's some other people, in the outskirts that we've come across in different ways.
We don't really see how deep some of these cemeteries are in the woods. They're probably gonna back out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and especially, some of the older folks, I can't walk a half mile, breaking brush to get to, carrying stuff on my back, so, yeah, if we're looking for young'uns too, younger than 40s and 50s and 60s or whatever it might be. Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts, high school students that need the senior, they need volunteer hours to graduate. I got some people right now that, they have young families and their kids are working in the cemeteries for volunteer hours, so we're looking for anybody. We don't have to have any talent, cutting grass, moving logs from one end to the other kind of deal, so just anybody. It's very rewarding. A lot of people are like, oh, you work in cemeteries, that's kind of like weird, but once you start working, cleaning up something that's, been ugly for 100 years, it's very rewarding, seeing what you can...
How many veterans do we know are in the cemeteries?
I think it's like a 240, I think.
What wars are we talking? How far back?
Everything,
Revolution, Civil War, a lot of Civil
Really?
War.
All the way back there?
yeah.
Yeah, we've restored.
Are there
some
stones
rather
still
You
standing?
Rev War.
And they
Well, we
still
got-
had stones on them? or-
Steve got
Marked?
stones for one of them, because we did the presentation.
Yeah, that was actually over on County Road, Milton Mills Road, that intersection there. There was a guy from like New Jersey or something, his great-great-great-great uncle or whatever was a local guy around here, and he ran off and, fought in the war, Revolutionary War. And he just had a field stone, a flat stone that had nothing on it. But it was a very small cemetery, his wife was there, one of his kids or something was there. This guy did the research, said, hey, my great-great ancestor is there, and he got a headstone from the VA with the guy's name, Stephen Watson. Did all the research.
Presentation, it was nice.
Yeah, we had, 100 people out there. Were you there for that at all?
I don't think so.
Yeah, it was a huge ceremony. It was really good, so.
We had
was there.
some Rev reenactors and stuff there.
Yeah, the unit, the reenactors were actually portrayed, the New Hampshire unit that the guy was in.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was kind of cool.
Treat.
When was this? When does that?
3 years ago?
6, probably, 5 or 6?
Yeah, 5 or 6
A while
years ago,
ago,
maybe.
pre-pandemic.
There's, we got videos online, and stuff like that.
Any Vietnam veterans or?
There's a lot of Vietnam vets
Yeah.
around here.
A lot of Vietnam veterans. What's the most recent wars? Do we have any?
I don't know if anybody's, was killed.
Shapley's got, a recent but non-active
Yeah.
that I know of.
Thinking of Keating? He's in, but he's in
He's in Springvale,
Springvale.
yeah.
He's not in Shapley, though. He's buried in Springvale.
I didn't see, okay. Steve, was thinking about the volunteers, it might be worth you thinking about doing a presentation at the Historical Society of some of the stuff talking about, we've got enough information collected now from videos and other things we've watched to try to inspire and, show some of what the stones we have. He's asking about other different veterans. I mean, I'm sure everybody else is curious too.
Yeah,
There's stuff we could do like that and put together like a half-an-hour program or something.
I know a few years ago, for the month of May, at the Historical Society, we did the Memorial Month. We decorated the whole room with military things, and I came up with this, did a lot of research. Everybody that was from Acton and Shapley that had either been killed or missing in action, or died of wounds or whatever it is, in all the wars that we've had. And there must have been, I don't know, 20 or 30, and I got information and headstone photos and pictures of the soldier if they were around, that we could get. There's a lot of country bumpkins from up this way, didn't come home, kind of deal, so. But yeah, that's really interesting, because it's
It
like,
is.
there's a lot of families here that never left, so they're all related to these folks. so.
Great Americans,
Yeah, and we got some that, in the area, in Acton, and Chapley and things like that, in Newfield, that there's a stone there in memory of a soldier that died, especially like the Civil War. A lot of times, they didn't bring that person home. They couldn't,
yeah.
keep them cold enough.
Logistics.
Yeah, so like they're buried in some national cemetery down south somewhere, and there's a memorial stone here. Sometimes the soldiers were brought back, and buried here, but, yeah, it's really, if you dig into it, it's really interesting, especially for, shoot, half of us are vets here, right? It's real touching and stuff, so.
Yeah.
It's good to know that what we do here is, it's touching people that we never met, or even people we did.
People made a difference.
They were just like us 100 years ago,
Yeah.
whining about this, it's raining, whatever, and they had to go off and do things and, whatever.
Make
so.
it back.
Yeah, so. New cemetery found. I'll let Ken talk about that one. You showed me that, picture of the headstone.
Julia. Talking about Julia?
I think so, and the people are maybe buried in Maple Grove.
Oh, so yes, Kevin Rue, who is my neighbor, I graduated with him, Chief Rue. He hunts over off of Milton Mills Road on some old property, and the person who allowed him to hunt there, he noticed that there was 2 stones on the property. So he knew I was into the cemetery, and so he got in contact with me. Me and him went over to the property, and there was a small child stone. It's Julia H. Ricker. And on the stone, it said, daughter of Clinton D.S. Ricker and Adelina Ricker, died December 1st, 1863. Estimated age is 2 years, 7 months. And then there was a small stone that just said father on it. So the story is that this was in the old barn over on that property for many of years, and when they sold the property, the old house and barn, they took the stones out of the barn so they wouldn't get lost. And then I took custody of them on the 27th of last month. So we did I did a quick search on Finder Grave, and it showed that all 3 of them are buried in Maple Grove with a modern granite rose or red stone. I did contact Ron, the president of Maple Grove, asking if he'd give me permission to go ahead and put this stone with the three and display it like it was back in the day, and he said he would approve, and he very much liked that.
Now, were you able to find out where this, on that property?
No, I hadn't done any research yet on deeds to see if that, property did belong to the Rickers back in the day, and if the original cemetery was there, or if maybe, some family member just took it out of another cemetery and brought it to the barn. I haven't got that deep into it yet.
So, yeah, that's, again, like, we say it all the time, we're still finding out stuff from 100-something years ago.
Woods are deep and thick, you know?
Yeah.
Amazing where some of these are.
So, yeah, doing more research, maybe we'll find something out there, wherever it might be. Maybe there's some people that did get moved.
Maple Grove has their, first, meeting this year in May, so I'll attend that, and I'll see if they have any more information on.
I would love to see their records, because they gotta have a record of,
If you're around in May when they have their thing, you should
let
show
us
up
know.
with me and...
let us know.
Is Maple Grove down by me, the cemetery right?
Correct.
Yes.
Highball?
Yeah.
Yep,
Reach out to Judy, I think Judy Shane, isn't she the,
yeah, she's just a treasurer.
oh, she's the treasurer.
Ron is the president.
Oh, so-
He's the one with all the historical background, and he's mapping it right now.
Ron or Roy?
Roy
Roy,
Treadwell.
sorry.
Treadwell.
Treadwell, Roy Treadwell, I apologize, yep, thank you.
Yeah, let us know the date on that one. Now, a couple of you guys went last year, right? To that meeting?
I went
been
last
there.
year, yeah.
We were all working.
Okay. Yeah, I had been to a meeting years and years ago, and it was really kind of contentious, but, you said it was a really good one last year.
Yeah, so they were very accepting, and they allowed me to go ahead and I'll be cleaning their old stones with a D2 wash.
Nice.
So I volunteered to do that for free, and then as they want things repaired and uprighted later on, then our relationship might turn from volunteering.
So Maple Grove does hire a landscaping company to take care of the grass. That's just a pain in the butt, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So we reflag stuff, we, swap out some of the flag markers, flag holders and stuff like that, and, clean and fix stones as they come about, but that's really not our main focus, but if we can, be deep in with those guys, because, half the people that are buried in Acton are there. So, but it is a private.
A lot of them were moved from
Yeah,
original
yeah.
family plots back into the day there, so.
They moved the whole casket and everything.
Yeah, there's a few, cemeteries in the woods that have been dug up, and those folks are in Maple Grove, so.
Wow.
Yeah. So, this place is interesting, so.
It's very interesting.
Yeah, when I was writing this thing up last night, I didn't even think about MOCA events, and I haven't seen anything, any emails or mailings that I've gotten, to me personally, but, this coming, what's the date, the 17th? So Wednesday night over in Limerick, there's gonna be a funeral and mourning practices of New England, from 1650 to 1900, presentation that somebody's gonna be giving.
Yeah.
So if you guys get a chance to get over there, they always put on good events, informational or historical or whatever it might be, so, that's just, 30 minutes away, 20 minutes away. And then most of the cleaning and the workshop stuff that they always do every year, is in St. George, Maine, which is down east somewhere, a couple, 2.5 hours away. So it's closer than, where did I go, Lubeck, but it's not as, a little further away than Alfred, where you guys went last year.
Yeah.
So, yeah, actually, so I know you were only able to go to like the briefing or something.
I
the
know,
first
but
one?
he's training me.
Okay, cool. So, yeah, so I've been trained and Ken's been trained, by MOCA. But if we can get some other people that, maybe can go away for a few days.
So now what is this for, to do?
So these are cleaning workshops, how to fix the stones, as opposed to just, some real basic kind of stuff. It's 4 days of intense stuff, and you work on, on a cemetery in St. George or wherever, things like that.
Salvaging old stones?
Yeah, digging stuff up, putting stuff together that you didn't think you could fix.
Now, we saw one up at, the one up on 109, it looked like one of the stones had like braces on the side.
Yeah, I don't know who did that. Yeah, it's got
It was
like
cracked
a,
right across the middle, looked like
Yeah.
someone made an attempt to, you know what I'm
yeah,
talking about?
I do, yeah. Call them Frankenstein stones.
yeah, there's some stone fixes from like
It's a
this.
technique that shouldn't have happened.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Can that be salvaged if you take, you know?
yeah, that looks like they use like caulking, whatever.
Yeah, that's what it did.
An adhesive or a caulking, yes.
yeah.
Yes, we can, depending on, we'd have to inspect the stone.
Yeah.
There's a couple, there's one in Acton Corner that was put together like, with like really chunky Portland cement. It was put, like the stone was put back into the base, so Portland cement is like the worst thing to use, to seal a stone into the base. And then over somewhere in Acton, at Maple Grove, somebody drilled through a stone, put like these wrought iron kind of like braces on there and put bolts through it. If you ever get over there, it's on the, as you're facing the cemetery in front of you, it's off on the right-hand
Bullets
side.
holding. What?
The metal brackets.
That
It's just,
sounds like Frankenstein.
Yeah.
that is some serious,
Yeah.
it's like, I don't know whoever thought that was a good idea. Maybe somebody, oh, I'm just gonna fix this because this is my great-grandfather, I don't know.
I think that's a herd. I think it's a herd stone, actually, that you're talking about.
So it's pretty ugly. So
Probably fixed
the theory is, if you're gonna fix something, make sure it's like reversible, because, you know, what we do today, the concepts today and the materials, whatever, might be the worst thing 20 years from now. You know, can we, you know, if it breaks again, can we fix it to make it better again? So,
Have you been in touch with our tree cutter guys, with the jobs coming up? Are they?
Yep, so-
Able to get this done before?
hopefully the two around here will be taken care of this week.
They do that before town meeting, before the, you know, that budget
Yeah.
money runs.
Yeah.
Get on these guys, you
And
know?
then the Nason guys are coming in, mid-May, that's scheduled already, so.
Yeah, oh, that's good.
Let's see here, that's it for new business. Anybody have anything they want to add?
Were you planning on going up to Paul Farnham, the one that we found last year up
Yes.
on Stagecoach?
Yes, we would like to get in there. It probably would just take a couple of us a couple hours, and
It takes a couple hours just to schlep everything up there.
yeah, so actually nowadays, that land was parceled off and sold. One of the new, tenants up there, he's building something out there. He actually built a bridge over
Yes, I
that.
saw it
Yeah.
yesterday.
So you can drive down there, and, just past where he's at, he's almost to the end of it. It sort of gets back into a trail again, so you can drive down now, half a mile, whatever it is, and bring all your stuff in there, and then Joe Stanley and I were bebopping around there last October or something, or whatever it was, and the guy was there, so we ended up talking to him. He's like, yeah, you can park here, you know, in front of his little gate, whatever, and then, you know, just haul your stuff a little bit further on down.
Is Joe helping you find lots?
Yeah, he actually found that Paul Farnham Cemetery. So he's he's been helping, the Historical Society out for a
Wow,
while
that's
now.
great, what a great resource.
Yeah, so he's a surveyor, he's all in these woods, he loves maps, and I reached out to him and said, hey, we don't know where this one is. He's like, a day later, he's like, I think I saw that last week. No way. So, it's been lost to time, and now
We
it's,
were within feet of it.
Yeah,
We went
so-
skiing a couple of years ago.
so there's what, 2 or 3 stones there? I know Ken was there one time.
I was in there last year.
It's not big at all, it's probably no bigger than the size of these tables here. It's just a bunch of small trees, you know, it'd be cleaned up real easily and, you know, get the stones fixed or whatever it is, but, yeah, it's one of the projects here, so, and it won't take like a big organized kind of cleanup, so. What else? Anything else?
I have a question. Is there a way or a class that could be taken on learning how to map out these cemeteries? Is there
Is
some,
Mocha given?
Mocha probably does have something.
there's just
I haven't
something,
found anything, that's the,
that we could have a better system of doing things, and I just thought if there was a way or a class that we could learn the proper way of doing it.
Yeah. I'll look into that.
You've been GPSing everything, haven't you?
Just off the phone, I know we did purchase a GPS. yeah, I mean, I've always wanted to, get out there with a grid kind of map, grid paperwork and grid paper, whatever, and like detail everything. As far as, where the stones are, how far they are from each other and the stone wall and the whole 9 yards. So just it's for the record for down the road when we're not around and someone else needs to get back
Be
in
easier
here.
for the next person.
Exactly.
I still want to somehow integrate this with the Historical Society internet and database,
Yeah.
and then have it all accessible so you can, you can
Yes.
search.
Yeah, or if somebody's doing genealogy or something.
And that, Michelle Rumney's niece, I think it was, that did
Oh, that's
the
incredible.
digital map.
I saw that. Did you see the work there? She did it for her,
It was a project.
for your doctorate or something. It's absolutely incredible.
Yeah, so, I mean, we have access to that. I don't know if it's online yet, if we put that online or not. But yeah, the goal is to put that onto our website, and then when you scroll over a cemetery that's on the digital map there, it'll, you click on that, it'll tell you who's there.
The information in that is unbelievable.
Yeah, and since she did that map, we found other ones, so we need to get that updated, so, yeah. Yeah, so actually, who was it? I think it was when you were asking for all the detailed information about the top 10 projects, whatever. I do want to come up with a list or whatever it is of each cemetery. Hey, this is how big the cemetery is. We have 17 trees in here that need to be gone, taken care of. There's 5 stones that need to be fixed. There's missing people according to the old list. So I want like a detailed list of every cemetery. That would be nice if we could get it all done this year, but
These ones here are our next ones.
yeah, I think these, especially with the trees, these might be the top 10, I guess. Actually, there might be 12, I think I added a couple in there. But yeah, just, I mean, when we're working out there, we can work on anything. Yeah, so I added like, Young's and Acton Corner, I added that to the top 10 list, because there's the stones over there in Young's, that was that one that fell over. If we can get that stabilized and back up. And just Acton Corner, the new stones that we're getting made. So volunteers, we talked a little bit about it, your buddy, the girl that took care of Acton Corner, cutting the grass, won't be helping us out this year. She's just maxed out with everything else. And I know every time I cut the grass at Acton Corner, it would take like 6 hours.
Which one's Acton Corner?
It's on H Road, just
Yeah,
up.
it's right across, yeah.
On the,
Oh, that one before.
Yeah.
yeah, it's not easy, because
No, it isn't. And there's hills all through it and
yeah, but yeah, so Ken knows a guy that just, around the corner, I guess, that wants to work on it.
Adam Brock.
a good guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's asking the cemetery and the Historical Society if he could take over, the Acton Corner Cemetery. It'll be free, he has all the equipment, he will mow, he will get the brush out of there. We had talked about, last year, maybe getting some of those dead trees down inside the cemetery, is that still an okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
I know I don't want to touch anything outside the wall, because the next door
Correct.
neighbor owns that stuff, and
Correct.
all his stuff's falling into the cemetery, but,
He also can get a grant through the Elks Club for cemetery work through the Elks, like anywhere from $25 to $5,000, $2,500 to $5,000. And he would like to submit that so that he could help offset some of our projects, I guess.
He's a good man. He's got great equipment and everything too. Smart guy. That's great.
So he also has acquired a lot of his dad's old survey maps and old maps of Waterboro, Lyman, Acton, Shapley, old survey maps, and old deeds, because he used to search them. He used to obtain property by doing this, so Adam has not looked through them, but he says whenever he goes through them, and if anything applies to Acton or Shapley, he'd be more than willing to show us these old maps, because they go back to 1700s.
nice.
Yes,
nice.
please.
So,
Yes, please.
yes.
So this one up on 109, that's not on the list right now.
The one next to Willie's, basically?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the Goodwin Cemetery.
Oh, it is, okay.
Yeah.
What was that bid in at? Do you remember?
it was like,
1,500?
oh no, it was like,
No,
it was like
no,
Oh, that was a high one.
3 or 5
It
grand.
was anywhere
Says
from
you
like
get
36 to
25.
42.
That's right, that was a high one. Maybe 42, I think.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
sounds about
4,000.
right.
I get them all mixed up.
Yeah, welcome to our world. I'm stuck on Farnham's. What about the other Farnham Cemetery on the H Road?
Road, the other
Was
H
that-
Road?
Yeah, Pistol Pete's.
Yeah, Pistol Pete. Yeah, that one, I did some work last year, cutting down some of the smaller stuff. It's about 100 feet into the woods, almost at the end of H Road. There's a trailer, guy lives in a trailer, on the right-hand side of the end of H Road, and it's like in the woods before that. And there's 2 or 3 vets in there, it's got a nice, iron rail around it and stuff like that, but trees have come down and taken down some of the rails, and just, the stones, I think, are all pretty much upright. There's actually like a family that's outside of the wall.
No more room.
Yeah,
So they're on the outside of the gate.
yeah.
That's the Farnham Cemetery?
That is,
Farnham, and the ones that are outside are Hurd,
okay,
because it's spelled like 2 different ways.
yeah, so, I mean, I would love to get that one
He's
cleaned
given
up.
you permission, you've talked to the guy.
I've talked to all the neighbors.
Yeah.
The guy that actually owns the property, I haven't looked at the property map in a while, but he's some guy out in Massachusetts. I've reached out a dozen times and I've never gotten through to him. There's nothing on his property, he just owns this chunk of land that's sort of like
Oh, I see.
surrounded by everybody else's land. So it's like an island of woods.
But if we don't get the trees that are inside, it will start to knock down the stones.
But there are 2 vets in there, at least 2 vets, Civil War vets, and
Oh, it's in there. That's right, yep.
we have the state law says it has to be cleaned up. So we're doing the best we can. It's definitely not, ready for prime time yet, but
I don't think of these trees have ever been cut in these cemeteries, though.
no,
Never had any, well, it's a lot, you know.
yeah. Well, 100 years ago, it was all farmland and whatever, and just,
30 years ago, I remember beginning going down there with my kids, putting the markers on when they were just, little kids. It was the 4-H women that, were putting the flags and the markers and everything out, and, they were in their 70s, and of course, they couldn't get out and clean these cemeteries. They did the best they could, But the thing is, the reason I like to try to push this now is we get some people who will get in there physically and,
Yeah.
because who's gonna come after us? Not many people wanna do this,
yeah, so yeah, we're looking for the other volunteers, the new families, the young blood, the people that never thought about doing this before. When I met Charlie, had you ever thought about working in a cemetery before? Yeah. Oh, you did? Oh, yeah, that's cool.
I came here.
Yeah. So I never did till I moved to Shapley in 2005. It was not a thing. And I met Ron over in Shapley. I'm like,
Yeah.
Yep. And I said, hey, can I, it's because he had found a VA, an old Revolutionary War vet, got the stone and had a little ceremony. And I thought that was the coolest thing. I'm like, if you need a hand one day, give me a call. And he called me. And that was all she wrote. So, and then I met these 2, now they're stuck in this. And Ken was a volunteer that I found online,
Because of Jim. Jim was giving you kudos about the cemetery
yeah.
thing, and then I contacted you through,
Just takes that one mosquito bite to get you.
Yeah, and I was doing it years ago with Olive,
Yeah.
and Pat and I used to go in the cemeteries on our own and cut the trees up and do it all ourselves.
But Shapley, I noticed their cemeteries are so clean and treeless, and
It's mainly Ron, and he started like 20 years ago.
that's why, you get out ahead of them.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I got 20 years for this committee.
Oh, I do, yeah, at least. I plan on being around doing like what Ron does. Really, hopefully. Yeah, but knock on some wood here, so. What else? Any other business, old, new? Nothing?
I went out and bought my own 40-volt battery pack chainsaw, weed whacker, and hedge trimmers, so
Yeah,
I'm ready to put them to work.
iron tootin'. All right, cool. Next meeting. Do you want to do, a few months from now, middle of summer, see how we're doing? Today's what, April 17?
1st of June.
Well, we do it after the town meeting, so we can.
After the town
see how the
meeting?
vote goes. and
Okay.
You know what I mean? If the
Yeah.
money's approved, and then we can plan.
That's a good idea.
That sounds a good idea, yes.
How about July sometime, mid-July? Is that good for everybody? Late June?
Anything's good with
So
me.
you know, I'm looking into a module of LiDAR for scanning the ground, so I'm working with the
June
person
is
next to
not-
us who has drones,
That's a
so.
few. How about like
Trying to get a module that we can afford
like
to
mid-July?
basically fly to scan, because we'll go to a graveyard.
Sounds good to me.
It will find some, but you're looking for indentations and stuff with LiDAR.
On 60th.
Scan the ground.
What is LiDAR? That's
It
it's
is
new to me.
Yeah, it's a, when you go home, please look it up.
Oh, I will.
But it is for scanning the ground for imperfections
Did you
in
pick a
it.
date?
So you
Yeah,
can
once-
tell
once
if
they're done,
somebody
I'll bring it
within
up.
300 or 400 years has dug a hole, buried it. Wow. So trying to find graveyards, I'm okay.
What does this unit look like? What is it? Is it like-
It's just a scanning. Normally, they put them on a roller. They're only a little unit like this big. It sends a beam down into the ground, and it comes back up, and then you can see on the screen, you can look for, and see what the anomaly is, like a fish finder.
Wow.
It's just like a fish finder, to be
Kidding.
exact.
I
But
would say MRI, it looks like
Yeah.
an MRI machine, but
But I want to be able to fly to do it, because in most of these cemeteries with the tree growth and stuff, we can't use a roller,
Yeah.
because you're not in a field. Yeah, so, but that's what I'm trying to make happen right now.
How does July 10, it's a Monday sound?
Good to me.
I'll check in with Jan, make sure this is available, so.
It's a Monday night.
We're back, right, July 10th?
oh yeah.
That way we'll know the vote of the people on town floor if we, what we can and can't do, you know?
All right, excellent. We don't have anything else, we'll, call this meeting done.
We
Thank you.
don't have to pick nothing up. We can stay like this, like, nice. Usually we gotta pick up.
What hours are you open down there, Tracy? Kenny and I can come down and go through the town books.
Ken has the key.
I don't have it.
No, it doesn't.
Oh,
You
don't have a key?
I thought you had the key.
Well, you can let me know. I have a key.
So,
I had a
we're gonna
key
be-
to the Grange Hall.